Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the House Judiciary Committee. First, I want to, I'm joined here by my family members, as you can see. This is definitely a family affair. I put this bill in because it strikes me very personally, as it does the four of us, and many of you already know why. My sister has testified last year as to her personal abuse by the local, our parish priest, when she was much younger, obviously, but not much younger. Anyway, so I put this bill in last year. It didn't seem to go too far. We had a lot of problems the last day, and I'm here again. And this year, I think the bill is better. It covers more of the areas that we need to cover. So what I would like to do is explain the bill a little bit. In the first part of the bill brings in both public and private institutions, and it says that the public institutions are ruled by the 35-year statute of limitations on issues of childhood sexual abuse. The second part of the bill, the second paragraph, talks about 35 years statute of limitations as to perpetrators. The next part of the bill talks about 35 years statute of limitations for institutions that supervise the perpetrators for negligent supervision. And then it goes on to do a 3-year window for those persons whose statute of limitations has run out and relief has been denied. What this bill does is it gives survivors their day in court. And this is very important. What the bill does is protect children against pedophiles. And what can be more important than that? And as we have seen in the recently in the news, it's around the country, it's around the world, it's happening in practically every state in the United States. We're seeing one diocese after the other, which is plagued with childhood sexual abuse. We see a bishops' conference at the Vatican that came out with very little substance to deal with on this issue. So we as lawmakers have to take it upon ourselves to make sure that we right this wrong, and we give these people their day in court, and we make sure that these perpetrators and the institutions that house them and hide them and fail to report them will stop doing this. And the only way to do it is through legislation like this. And as you've probably heard before, it's very difficult to prosecute many of these cases from a criminal standpoint, because we're talking about children versus a person of power, and generally years have lapsed by the time the child comes forward and the evidence is difficult to prove. Those of you who are lawyers know it's a separate burden for negligence. It's a separate burden for civil cases. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's clear and convincing evidence. And it gives, again, these persons who have been so severely harmed by the very people that they're entrusted to. And you're going to hear from a lot of people here today. We have people that have been abused by priests in the Catholic Church. We have people from the Episcopal Church. We have a woman who is here that is a Dr. Nassar victim. We also have people who've been victimized by family members. There's also someone here who's had a experience with abuse by a DCYF placement. So this goes the gamut, and I want to thank all of my fellow representatives. We have 58 co-sponsors, and to me, that's a mandate. I think we have to do this tonight. Well, maybe not tonight, but in the very near future. We do not want to be sitting on our hands while other states are passing legislation to take care of this issue. As many of you have read in the newspaper recently, New York just passed a bill that extends the statute of limitations to age 55. This bill will extend the statute of limitations to age 53. And you will hear testimony as to why 35 years is the amount of time that is considered by the professionals is to be the average amount, average age that a person has the ability to come forward with such a personal story as what you are about to hear from these people. Now, for myself, my sister was abused by the local priest. We've had to deal with this over the years, and it's caused a lot of pain and suffering, not only for my sister, but for all of us. It rocked our family value system. We were brought up in what's called a good Catholic household. The three of us were placed in Sacred Heart School in West Warwick from kindergarten to 8th grade. And, it devastated my parents, who are no longer with us, but I know they probably went to their graves feeling very guilty about this. And why didn't they know? Why couldn't they have done something? Anyway, it's a good bill. You know how important it is to me, and it's important to the people of Rhode Island and to all the victims in this room to finally tell them, we hear you, we know you've been wronged, and we want to make it as right as possible, and we don't want it to happen to anyone else. So with that said, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I'd like to introduce you to my sister, Dr. Ann Hagen Webb.